Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour. I ran into a really interesting gentleman, musician, artist, about, I don't know, almost a decade ago, when he was an up-and-coming young musician. And he reached out to me recently again and said that he's got this charitable event coming up to raise money for Interim Place in Mississauga, and he wanted to publicize it. This man is the type of guy that deserves some publicity because he is a creative force. He's an interesting individual, and he's one of those examples of I don't want to say struggling, but musicians that are, getting out there in the world and trying to make a name for themselves, trying to get us to listen to their music. And I think we need to support creative people in our community. And so it's a real pleasure of mine to introduce all of you tonight to a gentleman that I think's got a message for our community and a message for the world with his art. Darren Flowers, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Two things. Darren Flower, you accidentally. It's okay. It's okay. It happens. And two, you said the word struggle, and that's actually what it is. When you are an artist, you are fighting an uphill battle. You are most likely going to lose when chasing your dreams because it's that tough. It is very competitive. However, I don't think this is just a music thing. I just think this is a life thing. I think if you are talented, but you also have to be smart and driven. If you have those three attributes combined, I think in whatever endeavor you go into, you should do okay. So, but it is a struggle, and that's the thing. That's part of the reason why I wanted to come on your show, because I'm going to be putting on a charity show called the November to Remember on Saturday, November 16th in Port Credit, Mississauga, and every bit, counts. If 2-3 people hear this broadcast and think, I want to go to this show because I'm going to have a great time and support and Brave, formerly known as Interim Place, that's a success for me. So thank you. But the struggle is real.
The November to Remember. Tell us a little bit about the November to Remember. Where is it? What is it? Who's going to be there?
Well, first, I'm going to go a little bit into the back history about this and tell you why it's important for me to put on charity shows.
Well, you've been doing this for a while. I remember you used to do something called, was it called founder of Rock It Up?
Well, Rock It Up, I consider this to be a movement. So, I'll go way back here. So I started my own business teaching guitar lessons at first. It's morphed into something else that's called Dandelions, but it was under the name Rock It Up. I started my own business in a truck. I was doing manual labor. I didn't want to do this anymore, killing myself doing this, and I wanted something better for myself. So I started what was once guitar lessons. Then I moved with guitar lessons and piano lessons. In 2011 is when I started. In February, I got an opportunity to host a radio show at the University of Toronto Mississauga campus. So I took that as well too. So Rock It Up it started with music lessons, and for a while I continued under that name. But I also later that year in 2011 had the opportunity to host a radio show, which I called Rock It Up. And I experienced a little bit of, musical schizophrenia with the name, because am I providing lessons or am I entertaining people? So I decided to keep Rock It Up as entertainment, again, with this radio show, and what then became Dandelions Music and Art. And that's where we go into people's homes to teach music and art. You guessed it. That's what we do. But Rock It Up, it was a radio show. It was a TV show. And now I retired last year, weekly, my radio show. I've interviewed a lot of big names: Edgar Winter, Kentucky Headhunters, Blackberry Smoke, Pearl Jam, Blind Melon, J-Rock from Trailer Park Boys. But that's more of the entertainment side of me. So Rock It Up in the past 10 years has put on 3 charity shows now, or this will be the third, maybe the fourth one in 11 years. And I just wanted to give back. Life has been pretty good to me. It's not always easy, being a musician, but I thought, if I am capable of maybe bringing people together and helping them donate a little bit and do something good for people, then I think I should do that. So I'm very interested in helping people out, Brian.
Fantastic. Well, that's great. And my recollection is that you're also very interested in promoting other musicians, other struggling musicians, other new musicians. Is that not the case?
Well, the idea with Rock It Up was I had 2 hours every Saturday, and I would play music from all around the world. is mostly focused on what I'd call classic rock revival bands that sounded like today's version of Led Zeppelin or Grand Funk Railroad, but they're in far away places. I've had bands that called in from Croatia. I've had bands from India actually in the space. Lots of bands from the UK, USA. So yes, I used to actively promote new, exciting music, but in the blues rock genre, rock and
And
roll.
and this November to Remember, is it going to be just your band, or is it going to be more than just your band?
Well, it's not just going to be my band, Wayward Saints. Check us out; you might enjoy it. But there's also a couple other bands on the bill as well too. The Boneheads is a really cool blues alternative band from Mississauga, and they're able to draw quite a bit of a crowd, I've been told. So I think that should be really good for the venue because there's going to be a lot of people there, I'm hoping, and they're really good. And then we have a house band from the School of Rock, an adult band. But there's a School of Rock. It's actually a school, and they have a chapter in Streetsville. I know everybody's seen the movie, but it actually started as a school 5 years prior to the movie being released. And they have chapters all over, I'm guessing, USA and now Ontario and other parts of Canada. And so I invited uh, them to bring their band onto the bill because I thought it'd be really fun to have young kids rocking it up and playing, the classics. Now, they had to back out, but we got an adult band also affiliated with School of Rock. So I think it's going to be good. It's going to be three great bands playing very classic rock inspired music. That's kind of the theme for the evening. And I'm thinking it's going to be a great time.
Where's
And
where's it happening?
it's happening at the NF 262 Veterans Hall. This would be 765 3rd Street in just the outskirts of Port Credit. And the event is going to go Saturday, November 16th from 7 to 10. And the 10th, 11th hour is more of a, meet and greet musicians and have a cocktail with them and chat. And, we're not just quite ready to go home. That last hour is to, for everybody to tear down their stuff, but also mingle and chat and, make new friends. And Rock It Up is all about making new friends. I have introduced people from all over the world to each other. With the thing with Facebook is that we're all connected. I mostly interact with people on Facebook, which is more of an older demographic, but there is real rockers all over the world. And you can chat with them so easily with the push of a button. I do a lot of video calls and talking with international rock friends as well too, and it's a beautiful thing. There's a lot of negative things about the internet, but there's also some very beautiful things. And being able to connect so easily with people is wonderful. I mean, we're connecting right now through the magic of technology. That's fantastic, right?
It is. It is. What time and how do people get information on tickets?
Okay, so if it starts from 7 o'clock and it goes to 11. Again, the last hour is supposed to be, getting together, mingling with people and, with musicians, kind of like a little bit of a.
Do you just show up, or do you have to buy tickets in advance?
No, I mean, if you buy tickets in advance, it's $20. You go to www.revelry, REVELREE .ca/event/November to Remember. If you can remember all that, you can go to that and you can purchase tickets online for $20 plus fees. But if you come to the door, it is $25 plus two canned goods. So I'm trying to provide some incentive to buy it online. And, there's a lot of people that, there's a lot of things going on in your life. You might not always remember to do that. You can show up and come in. There'll hopefully, it'll be a sold out show. So there might be people turned away at the door, but you can come to the door and pay $25 and two canned goods. And that's going to be your way to get in. It's going to be a great show.
Fantastic. November the 16th, is that
The
correct?
16th. It's a Saturday, so you don't have to a lot of people don't have to go to work that day or have to go to work the next day. So it's great. It's not competing with Christmas. It's still mid-November-ish, and
Saturday, November 16th.
the weather's going to be good. And
7 to 11, three great bands just outside of Port Credit. And you go to, remind us the website, it's www.revelry.
Revelry. So let me just get this right now.
November to remember.
That is correct.
Fantastic. We're going to take a break for some messages and get back in just 2 minutes with Darren Flower, not Flowers, and chat a little bit about how he got into the music scene and a little bit about his band and where he thinks music and an artist is going in Mississauga, Toronto, Canada, etc. Stay with us, everyone. Back in 2 minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Bar. We're chatting today with Darren Flower. He is part of a band. He's a musician. He's a radio host. He's organizing a charitable event on November the 16th for Interim Place, which has been renamed. And I can't remember what you told me the new name was, but it's a place for abused women. And he's also promoting some local Mississauga music. Darren is a gentleman that I met almost a decade ago when I was the president of MAC, the Mississauga Arts Council. And Darren, you were involved in something called Limelight, which was to bring education to young up and coming music artists. Is that correct?
So the thing is that there's a lot of great musicians in Mississauga, and some of them have gone on to big success. I mean, there's, of course, Billy Talent and Il Scarlett, probably two biggest examples that I can think of. And then there's a lot of us that have had success on maybe a smaller scale, but we still have some great knowledge to give to young kids. Now, the thing is, when you're young, it's great because you have so much enthusiasm. You're bursting with enthusiasm, which is great. You're going to need that. But what you don't have is the years of experience that we do. And you don't have the years of, I guess, built up expertise in certain areas. Again, the wisdom that we do. So the idea of, helping young kids and almost mentoring them, that is very appealing to me. Again, I started my own business in 2011 because I wanted something better for myself. But, I always liked when the figurative light bulb would go on, over somebody's head when you're trying to teach a concept, right? So I've had a lot of great teachers in my life, and I find this line of work quite appealing. But then I've also had teachers, while they did know what they were talking about, they didn't really project it well, and they didn't have a way to connect with the students, and it can turn people off. So I like the idea of helping people out and giving what I know to the next generation. So
how'd you get started? Guitar, piano. How'd you get started?
Okay, I love talking about this. Like a lot of kids, when you're young, your parents want you to do piano lessons. Piano and violin are very attractive instruments for parents, and they see it as a very smart activity, and they're not wrong about that. It's very attractive for parents. So I was pushed into piano from the age of 5 to 14, and because I was made to do it, it was like a chore. It's like, oh, Darren, go clean your room. Darren, go practice piano. And that's what it was. And that's what it is for a lot of kids, especially my age growing up. I'm turning 42 this year. So I was
old. My gosh, so old.
I know, I'm old. So I was forced to do it, and because I was forced to do it, I didn't really want to do it. So from 5 to 14, I was made to do an activity that I absolutely detested.
Practicing the piano.
Piano. It did not connect with me. I was just a young kid who wanted to play video games.
Parenting advice. Don't force people to don't make it.
No, it really is. We can talk about parenting advice a little bit later on as well too. I'd be happy, to share the little that I know, but I did not want to do it. At the age of 12, I was asked if I wanted to play guitar, and I was like, yeah, whatever. And I started to take lessons at the Erin Mills Town Center when they had a music store there. And I went in there. My dad kind of pushed me in. I gave it a shot. I was like, okay. And I was a young rock and roll kid, so it was at the right time. But what happened is that my first teacher from the get-go was young, which was great because it was nice to see somebody kind of youngish teach, but he was patient. He was cool. He never talked to me like a little kiddie. That was a big thing right there. He treated me with enough respect that he didn't talk down to me. Like, even though I was significantly younger, I'm his student after all, but he made me feel so comfortable, and he had the qualities that I would want in a guitar teacher. And so and he made teaching so much fun, and felt so comfortable, and he made me really want to learn. So I used to play 2-3 hours a day. I had a lot of time back then as a kid, and he really appreciated me because what he told me is that a lot of kids, they wanted to learn a Nirvana song to impress their friends or whatever, but I actually wanted to learn the language of music and the language of guitar. So he enjoyed teaching me, and I enjoyed learning from him. And then all of a sudden one day he was gone, and I was devastated. I was 12 years old. I'm like, where's my teacher? And I had a couple other teachers come through the doors after that, and they were okay. It's not that they were bad, but the connection that I had to the first teacher was unmatched. So now, fast forward, I found myself working in a truck, minimum wage, with some of what you would consider the dregs of society. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't do this job for much longer. I have a half broken back from a car accident in 2008, and I need to make changes now. So I decided I'm going to try to teach guitar. And so I started doing that in 2011, and then I started to add piano to it. And but I always kept that first teacher in mind. He was so cool. He never talked down to kids like they were little kiddies. I try to talk to kids like they're young adults and let them know that, right? But I still have to try to make this fun and exciting because I have to keep them interested and engaged.
And when was the first time you joined a band?
The first time I joined a band, I was maybe, I want to say 15 years old. And I joined a band with my high school chums, and we were called Chiba. And I won't go into details as to what that's supposed to mean. It's ridiculous, but that's high school kids do high school stuff, right?
What did you play?
I played guitar.
No, I mean,
And
what type of music? You play guitar,
oh,
okay?
oh,
Lead
okay,
guitar,
yeah,
rhythm guitar, what? Bass
yeah, lead rhythm guitar, but very much into like classic rock and
classic rock.
90s. I grew up with a lot of 90s music, so that's what I was exposed to. So I was in some high school bands. I was in a high school band with somebody that would go on, actually a couple of members that would go on to play in Il Scarlet, because we were all in the same high school, which is Iona, which was great. My story is I thought I was going to be a rock star by the age of 20 tops. I was convinced that I was going to be a rock star, and it didn't happen. I'm a little older than 20. I think I disclosed how old I am, and it never happened. I probably could have used some guidance when I was 15, 16, somebody mentoring me and tell you, slow down, kid. These thoughts are ridiculous. And I could have benefited from somebody, speaking to me and, helping me slow my roll.
Well,
But
Darren, I know you're going to be shocked with this, but when I was in grade 6, I joined a band
okay,
and I took guitar lessons, and
okay,
and I was the lead singer.
okay, all right.
And the
Um,
band, after I left, went on to great success. Not when I was there, but went on afterwards to great success. So it was a lot of fun. And like lots of people, I wanted to be a rock star. I wanted to be in a band, and it ended up we did classic rock. We did late 60s, 70s rock,
that's what I love.
and then after that, they became a punk rock band and went on to great success. So it was a lot of fun. So lots of people have that dream, and
Well, the thing
part
is,
of
it's, when you're 5 years old, I hope that kids are thinking, I want to be an astronaut. I want to cure cancer. I want to be a rock star. I want to be a basketball player for the Raptors. That's how much I know about sports. I want to, you should be 5, 6 years old, 12 years old, and have these big dreams. It's okay to have dreams. If you actually want to see it come to life, then you can take those dreams and make it reality, but it's going to take a lot of work. There's nothing wrong with dreaming. I think there's something wrong with not dreaming personally. I think you
I
should have dreams.
completely agree with that. So now your band, you're still playing classic rock. You're still
I am
playing guitar.
I am a classic rock revivalist. So the thing is that the sound of rock and roll has changed drastically, and to the point where it's almost unrecognizable. The rock and roll that I want to celebrate comes from the era of 1965 to 1975 ish. That kind of great, Les Paul, Marshall amp kind of combination, and Rolling Stones this, and Humble Pie that, and Led Zeppelin this, and Grand Funk that. And that's my favorite kind of music. I
Why?
grew up with the night.
Why do you
Why?
think it's the
That's great. Well, there's a great combination. That is a great question. I think I have a great answer for that. There is a combination of great musicianship, but also the songs were so good, and I love a catchy song. I that's why I love Steve Miller as much as I do, because that guy is the absolute radio hit single champion. He writes the most memorable songs, and there's great musicianship behind it. So for me, what I find appealing about classic rock is there's great guitar riffs. And again, I'm a guitar enthusiast, guitar nerd, guitar teacher, music teacher. And so I don't know, being such a guitar guy, that style of music really appeals to me. I personally think that the songs are fantastic and the musicianship is very good as well too.
I enjoy going to Port Credit and some of the local bars and listening to live music, but there are not a lot of places that play live music or
Mhm.
live music anymore. What do you think we need to do to ensure people like you have an opportunity to perform?
Well, I'm going to slightly correct you. There is a lot of places to see great live music. However, and there's an asterisk beside this, it's a lot of cover stuff. So you can go get a burger and a beer and watch some fella or perhaps a couple fellas do Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison or do Steve Miller and do the hits. That's gonna be found in every town, every city, all across the world. But Mississauga in particular, when I think original music, that's the thing right there. Where are the places for original music? There's only a handful of places that you can think of, and we have a mutual friend, Demetrius Nath, who is working very hard. I also have to admit, this is a joint promoted event, Rock It Up and Mississauga Music. I should have mentioned that from the very get-go. Demetrius has been really good to Mississauga and trying to help find a place for original music and artists to ply their trade. And so there's a couple places, but I think that there could be maybe one or two places. Port Credit would be great if they had a venue for original music. But that being said, if there isn't a place, there is always somebody that can put up their hand and rent a hall, like what I'm doing as well too. That's exactly what I'm doing. There really isn't a place for me to do this, so I found a place. And I love hearing when people do that kind of stuff as well. You can take the initiative. There
What
isn't a
what
place, go find a place, go make it
what
happen.
what should organizations like Mississauga Music, Mississauga Arts Council, City of Mississauga, Culture Department, et cetera. What do you think that either charitable organizations, not-for-profit organizations, or governments should be doing, if anything, to assist people like yourself and artists?
Well, I mean, to be fair, there are a lot of seminars that MAC is putting on and has historically put on, and you would know better than me, right? I mean, you guys have been doing this for years, so it's good to know that there is an organization that is giving that. It is happening. That is a fact. So the education is available. And previously, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years ago, maybe it wasn't, but it is now. And people like Demetrius is, taking an active interest in trying to, help artists out. One or two venues in Mississauga would help. Places that would actually house original music and, but it's kind of complicated because we're caught between two really great music cities, Hamilton and Toronto, which may be perceived as more important than Mississauga. Is a Toronto show more important than a Mississauga show? Quite possibly, because I know bigger bands come to Toronto, like the Horseshoe Tavern. So, if you can pull out 100 people to Horseshoe Tavern or 100 people out to a Mississauga hall, what might mean more?
Why does the
Maybe,
Horseshoe Tavern have a better reputation?
well, I mean, they've been around for 70 years, but big bands go through a place like that. And so if you want to get the exposure and be able to play with bigger bands, then I guess you would have to be able to bring out people to Toronto to show the Toronto bar that you can pull people. So maybe you don't want to play Mississauga because you think Toronto might be more important because there's an opportunity for you to open up for bigger bands if you bring the numbers there. You know, I think the thing with Mississauga is it's kind of complicated. I think having a couple of venues that is more reachable because you could play Living Arts Center, and Demetrius sometimes puts shows on there, but it's hard to bring 300 people out. Maybe if there was a room that that has capacity 100 people, and again there's a rec room, there could be a couple more venues. I think. But then it comes down to, I think, people and their work ethic. So it's not just, okay, if Mississauga has 2 more venues, great, everything's amazing. But I think people also have to have a I'm here to work mentality as well too, and do the best they can to promote this event or the shows that they're playing. So I don't think it's just a venue thing. I think it's also a get educated thing and go out there and do it thing. I don't think it's just a venue thing.
I agree with you. I think that having a couple of venues that are reasonably priced is critically important. I think you've got to have a graduation of the size so people can start small and then build. And I remember that one of the conversations I had with Gilmore, the former drummer for Triumph and owner of Metalworks, was that he said the problem we've got is we don't got that medium-sized performance space. We've got small bars and we got Living Arts Center or the Paramount Center, but we don't have those middle spaces that we may have used to have, which is that 300 to 500 or so size, which is the Horseshoe Tavern kind of size. And unquestionably promotion, which is what the Mississauga Arts Council and other organizations, Mississauga Music, et cetera, try to do is, I think, critical to get the word out. But you know what? I think the key and the reason why the Horseshoe Tavern has that reputation is because they attract a good crowd, a big crowd. And I think, one of the things that we need to do is we need to, as a society, as a community, support our talented artists and not just musicians. I think that this goes for visual arts and dance and other things. I believe strongly that arts is the heartbeat of a community. And you never know who's going to be the big success. And there's a whole bunch of people that aren't big successes that still add incredible flavor to our community and to us. But we got to get out there and support them. We got to go listen to them. And so I think that, spending the $20 or the $25 and going to events like yours, number one's a great time and a lot of fun. But number two is also something that's really good to do. And too often, we only want to go to the Maple Leafs or the Raptors or Taylor Swift in Rogers Center. And nothing wrong with those things. But let's not forget that they also all started in small bars or on junior A hockey teams. And we need to support the up and coming people as well.
Once upon a time, I'm sure the Tragically Hip, well before they got famous, played to 2 or 3 people here and there, when they first started off in Kingston. And that's the thing, it happens. So, it's so easy to stay on these days, you can, entertain yourself by staying on your couch and watching Netflix and binge watching, and that's on you. If you don't want to go out and you would rather spend your time at home, that's on you. But I would say go live life. It's great that you can, watch TV and there's great shows on Netflix, but go out and also enjoy. I would encourage anybody to, get out when you can. This charity show on November 16th is, in my opinion, reasonably priced. Each ticket, half of the $20 at the door is going to the band and half going to the charity. So the artists are, getting paid, and there's incentives for them to bring out a lot of people because this is an opportunity for them to get paid, right? So, and then, this money's going to charity. So the money that you are spending for the show is going to a great cause, But I do want to say something too about artists. I think for society, I think it's important to have, the artist type, the artist folk in society, and, it brings joy and pleasure to people who aren't artists, watching movies or going to concerts or listening to albums. That's part of what makes life great. But the thing is with artists, I also want them to think that you are also a business too. And I put a lot of responsibility on the artist. And, a fan really is a customer. I think every artist should be thinking about their band as a business too. And how do I attract more customers? When I have a show, like on November 16th, and this is the thoughts that go through my head. How do I bring people out to this event? And on top of that, how do I bring, a new set of eyes and ears who don't know me or not in my orbit out to this event? To me, it's kind of like having a restaurant. It's like, how do you, bring the word out to your customers in the surrounding area?
Yeah, I agree with you. It is a business, but I want to challenge you with something and see what you think. I also think that art um, should and is most successful when it has a message. And that movie with Lady Gaga, A Star Is Born, and Bradley Cooper. The aging rocker tells the new and up and coming songstress, you got to have a message. You got to have something that you want to convey to people. And I think that's true. Every summer has a summer anthem that is a song that becomes sort of the definition of that summer. Every social revolution has a song that becomes the sort of the anthem of that social era, that social revolution, that something or other that happens. I think that Taylor Swift is a phenomena. There's no question, but her lyrics speak to young females. I'm not sure but it speaks to some people because it has a message. And I think that one of the things that artists need to do, and it's again not just musical artists, but I think other people in the visual artists and performing artists, have said having a message that resonates with people, that motivates people, that somehow defines something, whether it's a social issue, a political issue, a summer anthem, something or other. I think makes it far more relevant, far more impactful, and why it should be fun, but if it has a message and is fun, all the much better to it. And that's what I think makes lyrics memorable, music memorable. And I remember songs that we heard and sang decades ago. Why? Because that makes them critically memorable and important.
I think, I can't disagree. I think you do need a message, but every artist, what is the message, and is it going to resonate with your audience? So I think that's the thing that you have to think about. So, for example, Taylor Swift has a message. Now, I actually owe her a thank you card because she's made me teach a bunch of her songs to actually all little girls. That is a fact. She really speaks to little girls, and the message, the stuff that she mostly talks about from what I get. And I'm not here to kick dirt at her or be mean or whatever. This is just from what I've seen. Mostly is meeting a boy, heartbreak. And so the message is, love, really. The feelings that you get when you meet a new person, the feelings that you have when they break your heart eventually. This is all real stuff that her art audience understands. The message resonates with these select people, and that's what they want to hear. That's why she has so many songs about this kind of stuff, because that's what they want to hear about, and having fun. And so I think, if you were doing rap music, then I think there'd be maybe a different kind of message to a different segment of people. I think you need to understand who your audience is to, and then deliver the message to them.
I agree. And what I'm saying, though, is I think that you've got to decide within yourself what your message is, that it's not just a business to make money. If
Yes.
it's just a business to make money, I think that you won't resonate. I think that you've got to decide that there's a message. And that, at least is what Bradley Cooper in the movie told Lady Gaga in the Star Is Born. And I happen to believe it. Darren Flower, remind us the date of this event, November the 16th. Is that correct?
Saturday, November the 16th at the NF 262 Veterans Hall, just on the outskirts of Port Credit. And it's going to be a beautiful evening, 7 to 11. Please come.
And the website you can go to buy tickets?
Yes, it's www.revelry, REVELRY.ca/event/November to remember. So you can buy tickets online, or you can come to the door and you can buy tickets there and bring 2 canned goods. don't skip out on that because Embrave could use that as well too. So
revolution.ca/event/November to remember.
to remember the November.
Darren Flower, thanks so much for reaching out, and great to reconnect, and good luck with the event and good luck with your music.
Thank you, Brian, and best of luck to you and all your many different things you got going on. And you got a lot, so I'm rooting
Appreciate
for
it.
you. Thank you.
We're going to take a break and come back with a different guest with an interesting message in just 2 minutes. Stay with us, everybody. Thanks, Darren.